Denver will have a new mayor for the first time in 12 years, and the field of candidates vying for the position is packed. Voters will also choose the leadership for all Denver city offices, including city council, auditor, and clerk and recorder. And voters will decide on 3 ballot issues, including the future of the Park Hill Golf Course. We'll look at the issues and candidates for the April 4th municipal general election on this edition of Denver Decides. We'll start with the ballot issues. There are 3 citywide questions on the ballot. These issues were referred to voters by Denver City Council. With information provided by Denver's ballot information booklet and the League of Women Voters, we'll show you some pros and cons to consider. Going in ballot order, we start with referred question 2M, which deals with zoning. It asks if the charter of the City and County of Denver be amended concerning zoning to remove existing charter language regarding the Board of Adjustment, and require that the procedures for appeals, variances, and exceptions from the zoning code be addressed in city ordinance instead of in the charter. Here are the pros and cons for referred question 2M.
Those in favor of referred question 2M say the measure removes the Board of Adjustment for zoning appeals from the charter, but still requires City Council to provide a path for zoning variances, appeals, or exceptions through the City Code. By removing these 100-year-old provisions from the charter, the code can modernize variance standards used by the Board of Adjustment to keep up with adopted plans, including to facilitate preservation of existing buildings and provide greater efficiency to those seeking variances and appeals.
No comments against this measure were submitted.
Up next is referred question 2N, which also concerns zoning. It asks if the charter of the City and County of Denver should be amended to clarify City Council's authority regarding zone districts. It would require that zoning protests only be initiated by property owners in Denver. Here are the pros and cons for referred question 2N.
Proponents of referred question 2N say the measure clarifies that only the creation of a zone district can be appealed under this charter process, and then only by petitioners from within the City and County of Denver, since the result of a petition is to change the legal number of council votes required to pass or reject a zone district. Zoning needs to be transformative and adjust with the times. By changing subsection 3.2.9.h to the proposed text, the Board of Adjustment for Zoning remains in the Charter's organizational structure, but enables the legislature to make changes to zoning much easier.
No comments against this measure were submitted.
Finally on the ballot is referred question 2O, which concerns the Park Hill Golf Course. It would authorize the release of the city-owned conservation easement on privately owned property known as the Park Hill Golf Course, which requires the land to be used primarily for golf-related purposes. It would allow for commercial and residential development, including affordable housing and public regional park, trail, and open space. This proposal is in response to ballot measure number 301, passed by Denver voters in 2021, which prohibited the following without the vote of the people: any commercial or residential development on land designated as a city park and land protected by a 1997 city-owned conservation easement, except where consistent with park purposes, conservation easement purposes, or for cultural facilities. It also prohibits, without a vote of the people, any partial or complete cancellation of a 1997 city-owned conservation easement, unless for the purpose of creating a new park. Here are the pros and cons for referred question 2O.
Those in favor of referred question 2O say Denver can approve a mixed-use, mixed-income community in Northeast Denver with new housing, retail storefronts, restaurants, and a much-needed grocery store. Approving the measure will enable Denver's 4th largest park. Nearly 2/3 of the privately owned land and $24 million will be given to the city for new public parks and open space. It will also enable affordable housing, 2,500 plus units, including at least 650 rental and for-sale affordable homes for low-income and working families through formal partnerships, including Habitat for Humanity, plus Brothers Redevelopment and Volunteers of America to build rentals for low-income families, seniors, and people exiting homelessness. Legally enforceable contracts with community organizations will deliver tens of millions of dollars in new community benefits, including donated land for a new grocery store, a top community priority, plus an anti-displacement fund to offset rising property taxes for residents within half a mile of the site, and below-market rents for small, women, and minority-owned businesses. Environmental features include replacing a water-intensive golf course with native and drought-tolerant landscaping and 1,000 trees, pollinator districts throughout the site, and a reduction of CO2 emissions, with housing clustered near the light rail and future bus rapid transit corridor on Colorado Boulevard.
Those opposed to Referred Question 2.0 say there was nothing ambiguous about the November 2021 vote on ballot initiatives 301 and 302. Throughout the city and in precincts neighboring the Park Hill Golf Course land, voters spoke, loudly and clearly by a 2-to-1 margin, in support of preserving the land's conservation easement and protecting open space. The Hancock administration's ballot measure presents a deceptive and inaccurate voter choice for the Park Hill Golf Course land, between development and a golf course. If the city-owned conservation easement is preserved, the land does not always need to be a golf course. The easement can be amended for other uses consistent with its open space and recreational conservation purposes. Using Measure 2A Parks and Open Space 0.25% sales tax money, the city could buy the land for its $5 million encumbered fair market value to become a fabulous new regional park. Breaking the conservation easement would be an illegal gift from taxpayers to the developer of at least $60 million, the value of the development rights. It's a false choice between affordable housing and a full new 155-acre regional park. Build around, not on, the invaluable Park Hill Golf Course land. Affordable housing should be built on land across the street, next to the 40th and Colorado train station, where extensive dense mixed-use development will take place, and on 7 acres of vacant land north of the Park Hill Golf Course land. Once this green open space is gone, it's gone forever.
You can get more information on Referred Question 2.0 with a special forum featuring pro and con speakers on Denver 8 TV and denverdecides.org. You can also get information from the Elections Division's ballot information booklet on all of these issues. It will be mailed to all Denver households with registered voters, or you can go online for information at denvervotes.org. In addition, the League of Women Voters of Denver puts out a ballot issue pros and cons booklet. You can get a copy and more information at lwvdenver.org. And now on to the candidates. First up is mayor. There are 17 candidates on the ballot and 5 write-in candidates. You can see forums on all of these candidate races on Denver 8 TV and denverdecides.org. These forums were organized by the League of Women Voters and Interneighborhood Cooperation and presented by Denver 8 TV. You can also find information about the candidates in their own words through candidate introductions. Now here are the candidates in ballot order.
The choices for mayor are Lisa Calderon, Trinidad Rodriguez, Aurelio Martinez, Thomas Wolfe, Al Gardner, Terrence Roberts, Kwame Spearman, Renata Behrens, Chris Hansen, Mike Johnston, James Walsh, Ian Thomas Tafoya, Andy Rougeau, Leslie Herod, Robert Tretta, Debbie Ortega, Kelly Bruff. And write-in candidates Marcus Giovanni, Jesse LaShawn Paris, Paul Noel Fiorino, Abbas Yahya Bamba, and Matt Brady.
For auditor, voters will choose between Timothy M. O'Brien and Eric J. Clark.
For clerk and recorder, the choice is Paul D. Lopez.
For council member at large, voters will vote for 2 of the following candidates: Travis Leiker, Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez, Penfield Tate, Sarah Parody, Jeff Walker, Marty Zimmerman, Will Chan, Dominic A. Diaz, Tim Hoffman, and write-in candidate Janelle Jenkins.
For Councilmember District 1 in far northwest Denver, voters will choose between Ava Truckee and Amanda Sandoval.
For Councilmember District 2 in far southwest Denver, the candidates are Kevin Flynn, Chris Hare, and Tiffany Cadill.
Voters in West Denver, Council District 3, will choose between Jamie Torres and write-in candidate David Roybal.
Voters in District 4 in far southeast Denver will have a new council member to fill an empty seat. The choices are Tony Pigford and Diana Romero Campbell.
Voters in Council District 5, which is in East Denver, will elect one of the following: Amanda Sawyer or Michael Hughes.
District 6 voters in southeast Denver will have one choice for council member, Paul Cashman. He is running unopposed.
There is another open seat, this time in Council District 7 in central and southwest Denver. Voters will choose between Nick Campion, Flor Alvidrez, Adam Estroff, Arthur May, and Guy Paget.
Voters in District 8 in northeast Denver will fill another open seat and choose between Christian A. Stewart, Tyler Drum, Leslie Twarogowski, Chantel M. Lewis, Brad Revere, and write-in candidate Rita Lewis.
The choices in District 9 in North Denver are Candy C. DeBaca, Quan Atlas, and Daryl Watson.
District 10 voters in central and northwest Denver will have the choice of Margie Morris, Shannon Hoffman, Chris Hines, and Noah Kaplan.
Council District 11 in far northeast Denver can vote for the unopposed candidate, Stacy Gilmore.
Again, be sure to watch Denver 8 TV's forums for all these candidate races. You can see them on Denver 8 TV and denverdecides.org. There you can also find the candidate introductions. All registered Denver voters will receive a ballot in the mail. To learn more about the voting process, you can go to denvervotes.org or see the ballot information booklet, which will be mailed to voters. Or if you have questions, call 720-913-VOTE. That's 720-913-8683. In order for your vote to count, be sure your ballot arrives by 7 p.m. on Election Day, April 4th. Be sure to let your voice be heard. Help shape the future of our city and vote.